At what is arguably the most popular price point for shoppers, it's true to say that there are plenty of very good road bikes out there for less than £1,000. But what can you be expecting? Well, carbon forks, light alloy frames and slick drivetrains are the order of the day. So here are our recommendations on what we think you should go for, and don't forget, you can find links below to all the bikes that have been mentioned here today. The ability to specify the exact Ribble you require via its excellent online configurator is a neat touch, meaning you can essentially grab yourself this model with wildly upgraded wheels, saddles, seat posts and the like, but let's stick to the most basic of machines. It looks exceedingly good straight out of the box, ensuring it punches well above its weight in terms of premium appeal. The Mavic Axiom wheel choice also looks pro, the angled rims and flat spokes rolling well over a variety of road surfaces. Disc brakes at this price can be a bit hit and miss, often leading to more headaches than they're worth, but the Tektro MD510s prove powerful and free from irritating rubbing noises during our time with the bike. It feels solid to ride yet remains comfortable over long distances. Granted, this isn't as pointy or responsive as some of Ribble's speedy carbon numbers, but is a damn sight easier on the derriere, with bumps and small potholes soaked up by the frame and fork pretty well. The only bugbear is the Shimano Tiagra group set that, despite Ribble's rigorous pre-delivery inspections and tuning, proves unpredictable and doesn't offer that crisp shifting that's required by those entering sportives or enjoying longer rides. It will often skip a sprocket or require on-the-fly tuning to avoid the unwanted spitting noises from the rear cassette. That said, Ribble offer exactly the same frame with a Shimano 105 group set for not too much more, well worth the extra expense in my humble opinion. It is amazing that such specs can be purchased for around £1,000, as it would take a bit of a bike boffin to realise this isn't some sort of bank loan brute that you'd expect to see rolling up to the start line of a professional road race. The sleek carbon fibre frame looks the part and keeps overall weight down to 9.6 kilos, which is ridiculously light but perhaps not quite as featherweight as we've come to expect from this high-tech material. Still, it is extremely stiff and the power transfer through the Shimano Tiagra drivetrain is excellent, although we would love to see some 105 action on there in order to keep the shifting precision and overall reliability levels up. Last year's model opted for a middling Shimano wheel set, but Vitus now has its own line which is light and strong. A little refresh of the eye-catching silver and black paint means it now looks the part too, making the Zenium an almighty machine out on the open road. The addition of punchy disc brakes and a generally excellent finishing kit makes this a two-wheeled weapon that anyone would enjoy riding fast. Boardman has been hitting the jackpot year after year with its sub £1,000 bicycles, and its latest full carbon framed SLR 8.9C is another absolute belter. Much like the Vitus, the money buys bags of carbon fibre that has been tested to within an inch of its life inside Chris Boardman's very own wind tunnel, which means you get very similar innovations to those found on the top of the range Boardman bikes for a fraction of the price. Of course, there has to be some sort of compromise, and this comes in the form of slightly naff Tektro R315 brakes and Shimano's Tiagra gearing, which is pretty good but not quite as sharp as the 105 or range-topping old Tegra, but you'll never get that at this price bracket. Regardless, this is a rapid bicycle that would be as happy punishing the daily commute as it would be goading more expensive bikes during the weekend competitive ride. With a carbon fork, lightweight alloy frame and 16-speed Shimano gears, you're getting a bargain here. Boardman bikes may be exclusive to Halfords, but they are well worth the pain of going to Halfords, and they'll throw in unlimited lifetime safety checks and a lifetime guarantee on the frame and forks, subject to certain terms and conditions. Above all else, Boardman manages to sneak in some really high-end components despite the bargain price tag. An FSA bottom bracket, FSA headset and decent Vittoria tyres are just a few examples, but there is some compromise. The Tetro brakes are perfectly adequate, but nothing to write home about, while the Shimano Claris group set doesn't quite cut the mustard like the marginally more expensive 105 setup. However, the alloy frame and carbon forks are a lovely touch. It looks great, and this, quite frankly, is probably going to work for most people out there. The Razor from Vitus is not a cheap option, but prices from Wiggle often fluctuate throughout the year, so keep an eye out for bargains. Although expensive, we listed it here purely because the brand bases this extremely affordable bike around a brilliant aluminium frame, which is both light and extremely durable. At just 10.3 kilos, it's slightly heavier than the carbon clad beauties found for around the £1,000 mark, but it's still no porker, and that lack of heft will make things a lot easier when it comes to tackling the big climbs. Overall geometry is also fairly forgiving, placing comfort over all-out performance. Granted, Shimano's Claris 8-speed doesn't quite offer the widest spread of gearing, but the technology is proven to be robust and reliable, which means maintenance should be fairly easy. Perhaps the icing on the cake is that this Road Warrior comes with carbon fibre forks, which is extremely generous at this price point. You see this a lot with road bikes, where an older model seemingly comes with a much better spec for the same or cheaper price than the new bike. Carrera's Vanquish is one such example, as it now eschews disc brakes for cheaper Tetro pivot models. A sub £500 budget isn't quite enough to stretch to something from the more lavishly appointed Boardman range, but the Vanquish comes with a 16-speed group set that features some of Shimano's most popular oily bits. At £375, it's a bargain buy and doesn't look half bad, but we can't help thinking that some of these components will give up the ghost before the buzz of the fast roadwork wears off. Although many of the components are similar to other cheaper models on this list, the additional money is ploughed into Trek's expertise in creating fast frame shapes. The geometry employed in its entry-level Domane is geared towards those who want to increase the pace of their longer rides, while the addition of branded Bontrager R1 Hardcase Light 700 wheels raises this machine slightly above its rivals listed here. Created using Cannondale's tube flow modelling design process, the CAAD Optimo Smartform C2 aluminium construction is lighter and offers the rider more feel through the bars than other similarly priced premium alloy offerings. It is sharp, fast and responsive to inputs. This comes as little surprise, seeing as Cannondale have long been at the forefront of professional bike racing, but the geometry is similar to the much more expensive Super 6 Evo model and offers proper performance without sacrificing comfort. Although the excellent Shimano 105 group set is here, Tetro R741 caliper rim brakes feel a little stingy, and the styling you get might be a little plain for some, but the money mainly goes towards the aluminium frame, which is one of the sweetest available. According to its maker, new for 2020 is an even lighter carbon fork, although the overall mass doesn't seem to have changed much from previous generations. There is no denying the Cube Attain looks like it wants to go fast, but does it have the muscle to back it up? Yes, it does. Oversized tubes and a beefy bottom bracket ensure this is a stiff and purposeful ride, but it somehow manages to remain pretty comfortable. There is now a full carbon front fork added to this entry-level Attain, which reduces weight somewhat, while the finishing kit has been revisited for 2020, and quite generously at this price, disc brakes. I know we've been banging on about Shimano Tiagra, but Shimano's Claris 8-speed transmission feels a bit cheap when bolted to a frame of this stature, but then Cube wants you to part with a little extra cash if you're fussy about such things. Overall, it's a great road bike that ticks plenty of boxes, especially the one that's marked, "Do I look like I know what I'm doing now?" So there we have it, those are our favourite road bikes that we think you can get for around £1,000. If you think we missed any out, drop them down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, drop it a like, subscribe to the channel for more content, and we'll see you again very soon.